Hey guys, I'm going to show you how to remove that useless minus from your damage numbers. First thing, we're going to need to go to the Steam library, right click TF2, go Properties, Local Files, Browse, and then make a shortcut to the TF folder and put it on your desktop. Then we need to install a program called FontForge, which we will use to remove the minus and the plus from the damage number font. And if you're going to be editing the default HUD, you need a program called GCFscape, which allows you to extract the files for the default HUD so that you can edit them. I also use a text editor called Notepad++, but you can use the default Windows Notepad if you like. When you're installing GCFscape, enable the option to associate with VPK file. Since I'm going to be showing you how to do this with the default HUD, we're going to open GCFscape. Go File, Open, and go to the TF folder. Scroll down to the TF2 miscdir file and open. Go into Resource and drag out Client Scheme. Now go into UI and find HUD damage account and drag that out as well. We can get the damage number font in the TF folder, just go to Resource and scroll to the bottom and copy out TF2 secondary. Now we're going to make a new text document called info. And on Windows you just need to go to View, Options, Folder and Search Options, View, and uncheck Hide extensions for known file types. In the description there'll be a little bit of code that says myhudisepic, just copy that including the stuff that's in the brackets and paste it into info and save it. Now you can rename the file extension to VDF and it should become a blank file. Now in the custom folder make a new folder called mycustomHUD. In that make a folder called Resource, and in Resource make a folder called UI. The client scheme file goes in the Resource folder and the HUD damage account file goes in the UI folder. The info VDF file goes in the mycustomHUD folder. Now open up FontForge by pressing the Windows key and typing font. Select the top drop down and select your name and choose desktop. We're going to open the TF2 secondary font. Sometimes it comes in a small window, just maximize it with this button. Up the top left you can see the plus and minus, just double click on them to edit them. Click on all the points and hit the delete key to remove them. Now go to Element Font Info. We need to make sure that these three titles don't have spaces and are all the same. I'm going to put NM on the end to give it a unique name and because it's the no maths version of TF2 secondary. Then go to File, Generate Fonts, make sure the type is set to True Type, and it's going to the desktop. Now we can close FontForge and there should be an NM font file in your desktop. Make a new folder in Resource called Fonts, and then paste the no maths font in the Fonts folder. Now we're going to go back and open Client Scheme and scroll to the bottom. And we're just going to copy this font entry here and make our own. Go down and paste it so that it is in line with the others. We also need to make sure the numbers and quotes are in order. The previous font entry is 7, so this one needs to be 8. We only need the font and the name to make this font entry work, so let's remove these lines. We need to make sure the name is set to the font name, which is TF2 secondary NM, which needs to match the name we set in FontForge. And same with the resource slash, this tells the game where the file is, so we need to change that to /font/TF2 secondary NM.ttf. Hit Ctrl F and type econ fonts and hit enter. And I'm going to copy a font setting entry here and paste it to make my own. I'm going to name this one My Damage Numbers 20. The number 20 will be the size of the font and you need to make sure the name here is TF2 secondary NM or whatever you set in FontForge. Set the tool value to 20, that's the font size this one will be. Now I'm going to make another copy for size 25 just by changing the number on the end and the tall value. And again for 30 and 35, so I have options for font sizes if I want to make the damage numbers bigger. Then go File and Save. Now we need to open that HUD damage account file that's in the UI folder. We need to make sure the font is set to the damage number font that we want to be using. I'm going to copy and paste it into both of these font options. After you've gone File Save, you can launch TF2 and you should have some nice damage numbers that have no minus or plus if they are healing numbers. And if you want to change the size of the damage numbers, just go back to HUD damage account and choose another font option you made earlier. When you tab back into the game, after making changes, you have to type HUD_reload scheme in console and hit enter. This will refresh the HUD files. It's needed after every time you make a change. In the client scheme, you can add a drop shadow to your font using this tag. Whenever you make changes to the client scheme, you have to restart the game because the file is restricted. As you can see, there is a drop shadow, but you can't really adjust the offset as it's automatic, and sometimes it doesn't work very well depending on the font. Also in the description there'll be some code you can add to your HUD damage account file that will give you a static damage number on screen. You need to make sure the font tag is using one of your fonts. You can change the ypos and xpos until it is in a good position on screen. I usually move mine over my ammo counter. This is good for if you take a hit scan shot and look away. Unfortunately, you actually have to see the damage numbers for them to appear on the HUD, so you can't just shoot rockets around corners and look away and see how much damage you did. You'll have to rely on your hit sound pitch for that. Thanks for watching, have a nice day.